Hi guys, it's week number 5 of travelling with Vicki to listen to music, and this week we are going to go to Spain to listen to flamenco, and in particular we're going to listen to flamenco guitar. I think even though the heart and soul of flamenco music is the song, or cante in Spanish, and the baile, the dance, I think the flamenco guitar is this amazing instrument that bridges those two worlds. It can carry off the melody of the singer, and it can do a lot of percussive movements, which you'll see in the videos. And so we come across it now as a solo instrument in flamenco in the shows or cafes that we might go to. First of all, let's clear up why someone, a beginner, might get confused between flamingo, the bird, and flamenco, the dance. And so I looked up some origins, and it turns out that flama, Latin, fiery, a flame, and then we come into Old Portuguese, Old Spanish, and we've got flamingo and flamenco. Then we come into English in the mid-1700s, and we've got flamingo being used to describe the bird with the fiery colour. Then in the mid-1800s, we've got English starting to use flamenco to describe the art and dance, the music and dance form. And if I look up today in SpanishDictionary.com, which I do because I'm studying Spanish, we see that flamingo, the bird, in Spanish is el flamenco. No wonder someone might get confused, right, if they were beginning to look at flamenco. So the art form we know comes from the Andalusia region in southern Spain, and there's a reason why that happened. In 15th, 16th, 17th century, people were being persecuted by the Spanish Catholic kings, and the three groups in particular that found themselves being pushed into the mountainous regions of Andalusia were the Moors, the Gitanos, or the Gypsies, and the Jews. And so flamenco is this amazing blend of their songs and dance, poetry, rhythms, very multi-layered. It's a complex art form, flamenco. So what we've got is, it was pretty well in the mountains, hidden, until around the 1850s. And then there was a change in the world, and writers, poets, musicians were seeking otherness. They were looking to other people in exotic lands, as they might have used the word back in those days. And flamenco in the Andalusia area was one of those. They wanted to come and hear and see the singer and dancer. And so they would go to cafes, and this period, post-1850, up until about 1910, became known as the golden age of flamenco. And it was the rise of what we call the cafe cantante, and the reason being the song that could be heard at the cafe. They would pay to hear the singer and see the dancer. At this time, they started to use the guitar more and more to accompany the singer. And in fact there might be several guitarists, because they'd have to cope with the varying ranges and styles of the singers. So out of this cafe cantante period rises the importance of the guitarist. Another thing that happened at the same time was the development, change of the guitar into a guitar used specifically for flamenco. And a very important person, Spanish person, Antonio de Torres, he was starting to build the guitars in the 1850s. He was a guitarist and luthier. I've only just learned what a luthier is. It's a person who works on string instruments that have a neck, so violin, lute, guitar. So he started changing, developing and building these guitars for flamenco that just enabled a new style, and it opened up the guitar world. And there are still some of his guitars existing today. He changed the development of guitar, classical and flamenco, for the whole world, starting in Spain, but it spread to the whole world, where people copied his design ideas or imitated them. So this really important person happened to be there in the area where the song and dance form called flamenco arose, and was important in helping that change come along. So the flamenco guitar that we have today is quite a different instrument to the classical guitar, and just a brief summary of it. They're much lighter construction, so it's a lighter wood on the sides and the back. They have now what's called a golpeadores, which is a plastic sheathing covering part of the front of the guitar. It's because they do so much percussive work with their right hand. It protects the wood of the guitar. The strings are closer to the frets with the left hand. That means that they can play incredibly rapidly in their left hand. And in fact, you'll see them in these videos. There are a whole bunch of videos that I've linked you into this week where they're literally playing a melody in their left hand and not plucking the strings. And that's enabled because the string is so close to the frets. And they have a narrower fingerboard. So the person, I should also say that the flamenco, sadly, after 1910, diminished in popularity or availability because of Spanish Civil War, World War II, and post-1950s, like 60s, 70s and beyond, there was a massive resurgence in flamenco. And so it was people searching to bring back the traditional songs and dances that had been, but also it's been a time right up until today of incredible development. And so an artist is always deciding how much of the traditional and how much of they're letting themselves develop as an artist and change into being in our time. Always though, flamenco is associated with improvisation. That is, you're working within a structure, meter, time, rhythm, even melodic structure. But it is very important for the flamenco musician and dancer to add their layer of artistic input into what they're doing. So always take that into account when you are at a performance, that you really are seeing an expression of the individual artist, even if they're playing traditional forms. Now the first piece I've got you linked into, a very wonderful guitarist right of our time, Antonio Rey. He's playing a soleá, and that is traditional. It is sung and danced at the same time, and they always now have a guitarist as well. It belongs to what they call the cante hondo, which is the saddest and the deepest of the cantes. So the soleá is sad, it's about loneliness. And I might just say I've danced a soleá because I do flamenco dance, and it's just amazing with the guitarist playing, the singer singing, and what they call jaleo, which is the input of voices supporting you, and palmas as well. It's an incredibly moving thing to dance the soleá. Anyway, Antonio Rey does this absolutely beautifully, and then there are a number of his pieces and then links to other ones. So absolutely enjoy this adventure through flamenco guitar. And just so you know, the flamenco is absolutely totally international now. In fact, Japan apparently has more dance academies than Spain itself. So it's a wonderful international dance and music form now. And wish you happiness and listening to the videos this week. Enjoy. Ciao.